So one of the best perks of being a gaming YouTuber is that you have a built-in excuse to spend way more money than any person should ever spend on a gaming computer that is freakishly powerful. And in this video, I get to use it to push Alan Wake to the absolute limit. But we're not gonna stop there because we're gonna play it also on one of the best monitors on the market today. Shout out to LG for sponsoring this video and sending over this 45-inch OLED Ultra Gear monitor with a 240 hertz refresh rate, a 0.03 millisecond response time, FreeSync and NVIDIA G-Sync compatibility. I am not exaggerating when I say that this monitor is the most gorgeous thing I've ever looked at, and I used to sell luxury televisions at Magnolia Home Theater, which is now owned by Best Buy and everything. Like, I've seen some amazing displays, and this thing is ridiculous. It's also an ultra-wide monitor, and that's why the aspect ratio is going to be a little bit different in this video, as you can see here. And I really wish I could just teleport you over here to see it in person, because my goodness, this thing is gorgeous. It's ridiculous. But you know what? We're just going to get right into it. I've been asked by the developers not to show the prologue of the game, which is probably good because it's a little intense and graphic. So we're just gonna go into one of these early loads right after that happens and start from there. As you can see, it loads pretty quickly. We'll pop in here in just a second once it's done, voila. And just like that, we are in the game. Now, in terms of settings, if we immediately jump in, I wanna show you, we are gonna crank this all the way. So we have DLSS turned on. We have DLSS frame generation, which is known in the industry as magic because it's insane. That's enabled. And then we also have all of the quality settings like as high as we can possibly go. Let's change that to high. Yeah, everything's cranked. We're also going to do something a little insane known as path tracing, which is this setting here, which is where they're actually going to calculate the paths that every single beam of light is taking to travel throughout the scene. This is, again, just computer wizardry and magic. The idea that this is going to run in real time is insane. The only other game I know of that's doing anything close to this graphically is Cyberpunk 2077 with the 2.0 update. And I mean, man, you're about to see, it is ridiculous. And just like that, I mean, this thing is ridiculously gorgeous. It's insane, I'll tell you what. And you're probably wondering what performance is like too. And there you have it, 98 frames a second, 100 frames a second, running in real time. And we're not even fully maxed out on the GPU or anything. So there's some other bottleneck preventing this from going even farther in terms of performance. But man, this is gorgeous. Now, there have actually been some mixed reactions to the PC port, with people saying it looks great, but it has some bugs and technical issues and stuff. And you know what? I just realized this is one such occasion. This is a save, like I showed you, 3 minutes, into the game. And already this is bugged out. You want to know why? There's supposed to be a lake here. I'm not joking. Watch. I'm going to run up this way and I'm going to show you what happens when we get to the end of this. I mean, one thing I will say is that, like, goodness gracious, this is ridiculously beautiful. Like, it's outrageous. This foliage, like, you know how some games when there's a walkway, they make it super clear and open? Like, oh yeah, you're clearly supposed to walk this way. It's a trail. In this game, like, the foliage at these higher levels is so dense, it looks like a forest, but it's actually the walkway. It's just, they're able to pack in so much detail that you don't even really notice. It's just crazy to me how good the density of vegetation is here and the lighting with all of it. It is so precise and delicate. It's wonderful. But watch what happens. What's on her face? What's on her face? Yeah, I couldn't script this if I tried. The game save is apparently broken and it warps me into a part of the game I'm not supposed to get to until like 6-7 hours in. Actually, maybe a little bit earlier than that. I don't recall precisely when it happens. But at one point, the water level will change and you can walk down here. However, for some reason, this save is just busted and it teleports you down there, which is a problem because you can't actually get here at this point in the game. You see that glitched out rock with the backside exposed and everything? You're not supposed to be able to get here. At a certain point in the game, that rock goes away and then you can walk through here. it's just bugged. Like, this is what I'm talking about. When the game breaks, it really breaks. And in this case, there is no way for me to continue. There's no way for me to fix this. I'm gonna have to start a brand new save file to continue because I can't actually get back to the other side of this where the objectives will continue moving and everything, which is just insane. Luckily, this is only 3 minutes of gameplay time in, but it's damn frustrating that this is already happening. Okay, so we're gonna try going to the end of the prologue. Like I said, I'm not allowed to show that to you, or at least they've asked politely that I not, so I'm going to respect that. And we're gonna see if we can get this this working. And here we are at the very tippy top of the game with things working properly. This is much better. This is where that save is located. So it should have spat me out right here at the very top to load in, but for whatever reason, it just glitches me like 300 meters that way down on the lake level underneath the water level. It's really, really weird, but anyway, let's continue. So people have made also a little bit of a hullabaloo about the system requirements for this PC port. People saying that it's way too demanding. It shouldn't be that heavy of a game to run. They should work on optimization and all that. And I'm actually going to take kind of a devil's advocate approach, which is quite appropriate for this game in particular. And that's simply to say that, like, this is one of the most graphically impressive games, I think, certainly that's released this year, but even in the last handful of years. This is a crazy, beautiful game with some just insane lighting tech behind it. So you would expect it to have some pretty demanding specifications. That's not really surprising to me. But I guess some people think that you should be able to run like a modern AAA game at high settings on an 8-year-old graphics card. And I just think that like, I can understand times are tough, but I also think that if games weren't increasing in their demands and weren't becoming more visually impressive, we'd be upset about that too. It's just kind of like a tough situation. Either the game isn't pushing the boundary graphically for the recommended specs, or it's like really pushing the boundary and it's going to leave some people behind, which is just, you know, it's caught between a rock and a hard place. Also, sorry, I keep looking at the wrong camera because I'm used to this camera, but I swapped to this one for this video because we're using the ultra wide. It's throwing me off a little bit. I'm going to be real with you. Yeah, from up here, you can really get acclimated with it. That's the lake. I mean, it really tells you how far away it spawned me. The last save file. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. Okay, now we go to the mind place that I always want to call the Mind Palace, and it makes me think of Persona. But this is basically where you're going to collect clues and objectives and things after talking with people and investigating things. And it's all going to end up here, and then you can use this wall to kind of build out your case and figure out what you're going to do next. But you know what? The forest looks gorgeous. That's no surprise to anybody. We've seen it now. Let's fast forward and get to a section with some more urban development. That sounded weird. I like buildings and like a city. Let's fast forward to that. I'll be right back. Okay, here we are. Man. So I played through this for review on the PlayStation 5 and it looked good there. But this is just like, this is something else. We're capturing this in 4K, so hopefully some of it translates well to you. But my goodness, this is just ridiculous. Like, it's crazy that just now is when we're getting the true next gen games, which I guess are now current gen, but it's basically been 3 years that we've been waiting for these types of games that really push the graphical boundary. And towards the end of this year, we've gotten 2 big showpieces. I think you could even probably toss like Spider-Man 2. You could toss, of course, Phantom Liberty in there. We've got this right here with Alan Wake 2. It's just crazy how good these games look. One of the most satisfying things I like to do when I'm particularly bored is to go online and find like old clips of people describing, say, like graphics for games back in 2002 or back in like 2006 or 7 when the PS3 came out for the first time and the Xbox 360 came out, and everybody's like, dude, the graphics are like dude, they're like photorealistic, man. It's crazy. And now we look back at those games and we're like, graphically, no, they are not photorealistic. Those things are laughably not great. I mean, they were great for the time, but nowadays it's just not even close. And this is one of those cases where I'm looking at it and I'm like, honestly, if you took a picture of this downtown area and just sent that to somebody, I think you could probably get them to believe that it is an actual picture of a real town, because it's just actually insane how good the lighting is, how high the triangle count is on a lot of these things. It's just crazy. Like I cannot stop geeking out about it. You know, we should do like a little side by side though. Let's take this and I'm gonna drop the quality settings all the way to low. So quality preset low. And you see everything changing on screen. And we're also going to go in global illumination, set that to low, shadow detail low, scattered object density, drop that to low, ray tracing off, all of this stuff off. Okay. Now if we back out, it definitely looks much flatter. There's all sorts of weird like artifacting with the light and the shadows on screen. It actually looks pretty close to what it looked like on the PS5. I'm gonna be real. I don't know what graphical setting it's running on console, but you know, I think if you told me that this was running on like a Series X or a PS5, I'd be like, yeah, this is about right. But then we go back here and we're gonna crank it. Like you can see, especially in the reflections, the water puddles and stuff, there's nothing really there. There aren't really any reflections that you can make out. Nothing really that useful in the puddles. But then we go into the settings and we crank all of this back up and you're gonna see a pretty insane change very, very quickly. So we go here, let's crank it to high by default. I'm gonna crank all of this stuff up as well. Shadow detail, high. And now when we back out, these puddles are actually reflecting what's in front of them. So if we go over here, it's going to reflect up the building itself. You're going to see the signs reflected. You can see right there, the flag is ray traced in that puddle. It's actually ray tracing the reflections. And you can see that up there in front of us. Like it's actually doing the job and it looks way, way better. There's the tree. Okay, the little LOD pop in. There you go. Now it's working. It's interesting that the LOD pop in occurs both for the tree we can see in the distance in front of the house and also in the ray traced reflections. Sometimes they do some trickery where one will pop before the other, but in this case, it really is just a straight ray traced reflection. Look at that. Look at that puddle though. Ooh, baby. It's gorgeous. And of course, what's also gorgeous, again, is this monitor sent over by LG. Again, shout out to them for sponsoring this video. This monitor, I've actually had it for the better part of half of a year at this point. They sent it over to me earlier this year to try out for some other games. And man, it has continued to blow me away. The quality is insane. I mean, it just blows my mind that this is where we are nowadays, that we can have massive monitors that are OLED that have like sub-millisecond response times, and it's just crazy to me. I mean, I'm very spoiled to get to play games like this on monitors and displays like this, and part of that is of course because of you guys. Part of it's because of awesome sponsors like LG. So if you're interested in this monitor and some of their other monitors in their Ultra Gear lineup, I'll have all of that linked in the description box below and in the pinned comment. Go show them some love, check them out. And seriously, you will not be disappointed. These things are crazy gorgeous. I just wish I was able to show you just how good this looks in person. And one of the other things that looks so good in this game are just like the quick conversations you'll have with people.
Nice to meet you, Sheriff.
We'll just come here, start talking with him.
You know, I wouldn't say no to another.
And it just kicks off. I just love it, man. It's crazy. And also look at this dynamic light shift as we walk inside. I mean, goodness gracious, dude. That is ridiculously smooth. I mean, there's no flickering textures. There's no light glitching out. The ray traced reflections on the shiny tile on the ground. I mean, we really are entering a new phase of game graphics if this is what they're able to do. And I know what you might be thinking, like, of course, Luke, you're running this on like a $5,000-$6,000 PC. Of course, it's going to look great. And that is true. You would hope so. But if this is like the max capacity of graphics right now. In a few years, this will be mid-tier. Like by the end of this generation, this is what you're going to get on mid-tier hardware, because that's what always happens in all of these generations of consoles and computer graphics technologies that we get. And so it starts like this, where it's really inaccessible to a lot of people, but in just a few short years, this is what your average game in the AAA space is going to look like and run like pretty effortlessly. And I'm here for it. Honestly, I am here for it. And some people would be like, Luke, the graphics don't matter that much. It's more about the storytelling, the gameplay, and all that. And I absolutely agree. Those things are super, super important. But having great graphics can also really help with a sense of immersion. I mean, walking into this diner and seeing it filled with people eating their meals quietly, drinking their coffee, the delicate light, all of these lights are turned off probably to save electricity because, you know, they don't want to increase the bill too much. They want to keep it as low as they can because this is just a small town diner. They're not trying to be the fanciest thing on cloud nine or anything. And it really helps set the tone and build the mood properly. And I think that that is important too. And not to mention, it reminds me of something I heard James Cameron say about the Avatar films, where people were like, it seems like you've just put a lot of stuff in these movies that serve no purpose other than just to be looked at. And he said, yeah, why is that a bad thing? If people like looking at certain things and they just find it interesting to interrogate it with their vision and that part of their senses, why is that a bad thing? Why should we shy away from that? Encourage it. Give it to them. Just like if there's a really good song, you let the really good song play. Even though it just sounds good, that's okay. That's all you really need. And in the case of games, sometimes a game just looking good and being really, really technically impressive, sometimes that is a feature in and of itself and is a reason to check out the game and enjoy it by itself. And for some people that will sound insane because they're like, I don't care how good the game looks, I just want these other things. But when you're telling a story, when you're trying to immerse players in a world, graphics do matter. Or at the very least, you should avoid like the uncanny valley. You should avoid trying for a photorealistic look and then delivering a look that's very cartoony at the end, and so you just end up feeling really, really weird about it. But if you're able to pull off something to this fidelity level, I am here for it, and I'm going to check out your game and be wildly impressed by it. Because dang, I am. So you know what? My takeaway from this PC port is that it is graphically crazy. It is gorgeous to look at. And I know that there might be some screen tearing coming through. I want to be clear, that is on the capture side. That is not on the game side. So don't think that that's what you're going to get if you choose to try this yourself. It is buttery smooth on my end, but it is still buggy. There are still weird things such as the load save states glitching out at the start, putting me in an area that you can't actually play in, forcing me to restart the game. Stuff like that is just actively annoying. And if I ran into that literally 3 minutes into the game, I would imagine there's more issues like that as we carry on. So maybe wait for some patches to come out. But I mean, at the very least, we can say that while it may have some weird issues, it is not a game that struggles graphically. It is a looker through and through. But let me know what you think of Alan Wake 2 in the comment section below. I know some people are super stoked on it, super excited to dig their teeth into it, and you may have already done that. And other people are like, I don't really get it. I'm not sure if this is for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'm actually really interested in hearing what you guys think. And as always, if you have a game you'd like to see me tackle in a future I Tried video, let me know in the comment section below. I'm always open to suggestions. And like and subscribe and all that other stupid YouTuber stuff that we ask you to do all the time. Again, shout out to LG for sponsoring this video and for sending over the 48-inch behemoth monitor here that is just freakishly gorgeous. And until next time, thank you for watching. I love you all dearly, and I'll see you in the next video. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.